What is up, guys? I'm back and better. Um, we're gonna be having UFC 286, Leon Edwards versus Usman for a third time. The head kick that Leon Edwards landed on Usman was insane. It was something that shocked all the fans in the UFC around the world. It was not something we expected at all to even have happened, but it did happen, and shocked. Edwards actually pulled it off. But before we actually go into that card, I want to go back and review UFC 285. I didn't make a video on this. I was a little tied up and busy, so I wasn't able to get to it. But I just want to get into the fact of how Jon Jones dismantled Ciryl Gane in the way he did. And initially in my prediction video, I said Ciryl Gane was going to win, and I was wrong. The funny thing is, when the fight started, and then I went downstairs to go and grab something to eat. By the time I came back, the fight was already over. Um, Jon Jones secured a guillotine, and that was tight. That was really tight on Ciryl Gane. And Ciryl Gane had no choice but to just tap. And as a result of this, I do think there's an argument that Jon Jones is the greatest mixed martial artist of all time. I think you can make that case. I think you could say he's the greatest to have ever done it. You got guys like Khabib. You got guys like, GSP and all these very high level UFC fighters. But Jon Jones, his title defense actually is the most, more than Anderson Silva even. And after being Ciryl Gane, I expected Ciryl Gane to give him a good striking battle, but it turns out it just went right. Jon Jones went right to the wrestling and just completely finished him and dominated him, and got the submission win. So yeah, Jon Jones remains a champion. The fight I would have loved to see, and what we all would have loved to saw, was Francis Ngannou versus Jon Jones. That's the fight that everybody would want to see, because you have a guy who can knock someone out, like Francis Ngannou, with the power he has, versus Jon Jones, one of the most decorated martial artists and one of the biggest talents of all time in Jon Jones. Yeah, unfortunate that Ciryl Gane was got beat in the fashion. I feel bad for him. Ever since that loss to Ngannou, Ciryl Gane, he's been in 2-fight losing streak now. I thought the fight with Ngannou was pretty close, Ciryl Gane. But he ended up losing that, and then he ended up losing this as well, which is unfortunate. So yeah, I mean, there's definitely a case to be made that Jon Jones is the greatest martial artist of all time. I know he's going to be fighting Stipe as well. That's his next target, Stipe. So if he were to beat him, I mean, honestly, you can't even dispute the stuff that he's done. I mean, yes, he has taken steroids and he's had DQ'd losses, but you still can't deny that the level of opposition and how fast he went to the UFC, and how great of a mixed martial artist he is, with his fight IQ, his physicality, his dominance. I mean, he went into this fight fat. He went into this fight looking fat. Like if you're looking on the outside, you look at this guy. Like he went in there in the weigh-ins, and he looked fat. Like he didn't look you know what I mean? He didn't look jacked. He was in a heavyweight. He had body fat on him right there. He didn't even look, that jacked. So yeah, pretty interesting to see nonetheless, like you can see here. He went in there with body fat, abdominal body fat, and just finished Ciryl Gane. And yeah, Stipe is going to be next. And I do see him defeating Stipe, actually. If they were to fight, I do see him destroying him. I mean, Jon Jones. Honestly, you can definitely make the case to the greatest. I personally think that GSP is the greatest mixed martial artist of all time, and I've been saying this since forever. But yeah, Jon Jones is definitely up there. Now, this weekend, what we have coming in this UFC 286 is Leon Edwards and Usman running it back for the third time. We have these guys running it back, and also we have Colby Covington as the backup fighter for that. So if either or wins, you know what I mean, or if just one of them doesn't make weight or something, Colby's there to fight Leon Edwards or you know what I mean, Usman. Which I would love to see Colby versus Leon. I mean, we already seen the Usman versus Colby and things of that nature. And it was a good trash talk rivalry, but we know what the outcome is. We know that most of the time Usman would beat Colby Covington. It's just how it is. But styles make fights in MMA. Styles make fights. That's the name of the game. And Colby versus Leon Edwards is a different style matchup. Who I think would win that fight? I do think Leon Edwards would win that, but let's see right here. Let's see Colby Covington actually weighing in, because I think this is interesting to see. So there he is. He weighed in at 155. He's the cardio king, Colby. There he is. Weighed in, Colby. You might get your chance, Colby. You might or you might not. Now, who I would think would win it between Leon Edwards or Kamaru Usman the third time. This is a very, very hard fight to call, and I can't say who's going to win this. This is hard, very, very hard to call this fight. First fight, Usman beats Leon Edwards in dominant fashion by taking him to the ground. Second fight, majority of the fight, Usman was winning the fight. Technically, he was winning most of the fight. But in the fifth round, we see Leon hitting a spectacular left high kick to Usman's and hurting him and knocking him out. Now, who has Leon lost to 3 times? Who else has Leon lost to? This is interesting. I want to know, because it says he has 3 losses to his record. No, that's a no contest. I remember that. Usman, Claudio Silva. That was a no contest. I remember that. He eye poked Bilal Muhammad. If you guys didn't see that, and then it was a no contest. And then Usman. This is hard. This is a hard one to call. I mean, I think that honestly, a head kick like that is hard to recover from. A head kick like that, a knockout in the way that Edwards knocked out Usman. It's hard. It's a hard pill to swallow. Getting knocked out in that fashion, it just makes you, question your reality as a fighter and how you are as a fighter. And if Usman can find a way to not dip his head to the right side when Leon's throwing that left high kick, I think that he can win this off. But that's what Usman has, that tendency. If he can remove that tendency to do that, I think he can win. I think he can definitely win. But if he still has those weaknesses present, that tendencies, then unfortunately we might see another knockout or something else. Now, I'm not saying Usman is that dumb. I know he's probably prepared and willing to deal with that left high kick threat. But still, it's Leon Edwards. He's got different tools to his arsenal. Maybe this time he could hurt him with an elbow or hit him with a right kick instead of a leg kick. It could be any. This is the mixed martial arts game. Anything can happen. And I think getting knocked out in that fashion, it definitely teaches you a lesson in the overall grand scheme of things. This is a hard one to call. It can be either way. But my argument in this fight, I'm not going to say definitely who's going to win. My argument is that if Kamaru Usman can, not get high kicked and knocked out with left high kick, then he can win this fight through his ground and pound and wrestling. If he uses his wrestling and ground and pound, he can definitely win. But interestingly, we saw Edwards take down Usman and get that back control. So honestly, from what we saw the last fight, I'm gearing towards Leon Edwards winning this fight, to be totally honest with you guys. I think Leon Edwards is going to beat Kamaru Usman. Now, the only if factor is whether Usman is prepared for that left high kick, is prepared for, that left high kick, basically, and prepared for what Leon has to offer. If he can mobilize that threat, he can win. But I'm going to say Leon Edwards is still going to remain the UFC welterweight champion of the world. And this is crazy. This sets up a lot of things in the welterweight division. This sets up a lot of things. Like, you have Khamzat Chimaev in that division. You have Colby Covington. Colby Covington versus Leon Edwards would be an interesting matchup. I do think Leon would win, but yeah, we have him, and then we have Shavkat coming up the rankings. Yeah, there's a lot of fights to make. I mean, I would love to see Khamzat versus Leon Edwards. That would be an awesome fight. I know they were trying to do that and whatnot, but Khamzat versus Leon Edwards would be a great fight. Yeah, I'm gonna go with Leon on this one. I'm just my instinct on this. It was interesting to see Leon actually get that high kick, and that really, I think, even watching the press conference, Leon Edwards, that high kick has made an impact on Usman. I do believe that high kick had made an impact on Usman. He's not going to be the same as he was. That left high kick really did prove to Usman. And they're talking in the press conference about how, do you remember the left high kick? And he was like, what's your excuse for the first fight? And things of that nature. But I think that Usman is not, he's not really taking it that serious. That left high kick, he's not taking. I mean, right now he's the favorite, but I'm thinking Leon is going to win this again. It's going to be some crazy spectacular, knockout or something of that nature. The only way that I could see this is if Usman, protects, has a counter for that left high kick. That's how I see the fight going. Just Justin Gaethje versus Rafael Fiziev. I haven't actually watched too much of Rafael Fiziev. I know he's a killer, right? He's from Azerbaijan. He's the favorite, but a Justin Gaethje fight can go either way. Gaethje is just he's so powerful. He's so unpredictable. You don't know what can happen. So I mean, I'm not sure who would actually win this fight. Anything can go. Can go. I know Rafael Fiziev. I mean, technically, Justin Gaethje is on a losing streak. Rafael Fiziev is up in the rankings. He's a young and up and comer with talent. So I do. I mean, he can go either way. I'm not gonna really say who's gonna win. I guess Rafael Fiziev is the new and up and comer guy, but I haven't looked too much into it. So I'm gonna actually. I mean, I don't know who's gonna win this one. I mean, it could go either way. Maybe lean towards Fiziev just because he's younger and still working on it. I don't even know. I mean, Justin Gaethje's been through all the toughest competition, though, so I don't know. It could go either way, to be honest. And then we do have Marvin Vettori going up against this guy. I don't even know who this is. I'm just going to go with Vettori just because I know him better. But, yeah. Oh, Makayev is fighting, too. Makayev's going to win that, too. Yeah, I mean, this is going to be an interesting fight to witness. Edwards versus Usman. I think that's an interesting fight to witness, to see who would win because of that last high kick. That was I would say that is the biggest upset in the UFC that I've ever encountered. That was the biggest UFC upset ever. Period. Edwards knocking out Usman is the biggest UFC upset ever. Yeah, it just is. I would never expected that, but yeah. So that's my prediction. I think Edwards actually takes this interestingly. But if Usman, like I said, can adapt to what Edwards has to offer, then he can grind this out for 5 rounds, with the grappling and ground and pound and potentially finish him. So, yeah. That'll be all. Thank you guys for watching. Until next time, I'll be out with more videos coming in the future. Been playing a little bit Destiny as well, playing video games in here and there. But thank you guys for watching. That'll be all. Peace out.